Hi, I'm Marcus Lab with the Indie Music Lab, and today we're going to reach into the little production bag of tricks. I'm going to show you how to achieve the reverse vocal effect. Let's go. Okay, just so we can get a good feel for what this sounds like in a song, I'm going to play you a couple clips and I want you to listen for this reverse vocal effect.
Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. A party.
Now, of course, this technique doesn't only work on vocals. You can use it on cymbals, pianos, synths, guitars, etc. Now I'm going to play you the first couple seconds of the song Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay, and notice how there are multiple elements that are reversing into that intro. Alright, now let's get to how we can actually achieve this kind of sound. So I'm going to open up my Studio One session, and let's get going. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is add a new track. So I'm just going to go here to my lead vocal track, which is what we're going to use. And I'm just going to hit duplicate track, and then I'll label this reverse vocal. And now what we want to do is we want to grab just basically one vowel of a phrase with the vocal. So I'm thinking, let me see what we have here.
So much better by your side. Ain't nothing like this, nothing like this.
So I'm going to get the word by here.
So much better by.
So I'm going to get that. I'm going to grab that, copy and paste it over to the new track I just made. And now we have fade in and fade out. So now what we're going to do is absolutely obliterate this track with reverb. So I'm just going to grab, doesn't really matter which reverb, I'm just going to go with little plate just because that's my go-to reverb for situations like this. You want to make sure you have a really nice long decay time, so I'm going to go up here to about 8 seconds. You want to make sure that the mix knob is all the way wet. You don't need any dry signal coming through. You want it completely drenched in the reverb. And then I'll also cut away some of that low end because we don't need it. So, okay, so now this is what we're working with now. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, before we reverse this track, is we need to print the reverb onto the vocal. So to do that in Studio One, again, this might look a little bit different depending on the DAW you're using, but you can absolutely do this in every DAW. You want to print the inserts, the effects that are on this track, and mix it down and print it directly on it. So to do that in Studio One, you just right click and go to transform to rendered audio. You want to make sure that there's enough tail on here, so I went auto tail and I made the max length 10 seconds. That way we for sure have enough of a tail on it. Okay, and now this is what we have. So now that reverb is printed onto the track, now we can reverse it, and to do that all you need to hit is Command R on your keyboard, and that will reverse it, or just right click and go down to I think audio, and reverse audio is right there. So now this is what we're working with. So let me pull this back to the spot where it's going to be, and it's going to sound something along these lines. So that's what we're working with there. And now we can do whatever we want. So this is basically what I showed you up to this point got you to first base. And if you want to stay at first base, you can do that, or you can go to second base, third base, or just hit a home run. I don't freaking care. There's so many things you can do now. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw an EQ on here, just because often with stuff like this, you don't need a lot of low end because it's really that high end air that we're after. So I'm going to do a big low cut on this. There we go. I'm going to bring this out here a little bit more. See if I can get to... Yeah, something like that. Now I'm also going to fade this in so we get a little bit more of a fade. And what I'm also going to do now is notice how this reverse vocal kind of cuts off and there's no tail at the end of it when the chorus vocals start. So it feels a little bit unnatural, right? So we want to add back a little bit of a decay to this track. And so to do that, I already have a reverb track set up on this return track, or FX channel as they're called in Studio One, on here. So I already have a plate reverb set up there. And then all I need to do is go to my reverse vocal track, go to my sends, and send. I'm going to send this track to the plate reverb, and that'll give it a little bit of tail. Go a little more. Now it has a little bit of a tail at the end of it, and that really helps it out. And then from there, you can do so many things. You could add saturation if you wanted to. Make sure we turn that down. I like the way that sounds. We could raise this by an octave. Let me change this format to sound. That way it doesn't sound so chipmunky. Back up here. Right, so if you want that really high tinny sound at the top, you can do that. And then you could even add like a panning effect. So I'm just going to add my pancake plugin here. See if we can get something we like. Maybe So yeah, it's just stuff like that. You can just go to town and really have fun with this. The main thing is just to know the basics, which I showed you up front. Really, the only thing you're using is a reverb, printing that reverb, and then reversing the audio. So, I mean, that's basically it.
Ain't nothing like it, nothing like it. So much better by your side. Ain't nothing like this, nothing like this. I can stay here till I die. Oh, ain't nothing like it, nothing like it. Oh, oh, oh yeah.
Alright, that's it for me today, guys. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.